Hello, hello, hello guys. Let me play some music and allow us time to gather. And we are going to start. And where is my musica? Where is my musica? Here it is. Let's start. Happy Saturday. Hi guys, I'm having a nibble at my grapes and walnuts before I start. Get my sweet tooth satisfied. Anybody want some? Okay, what else do I need here? I need Kleenex. Hi Barbie, hi Sally, hi Joanna, hello Steve. Watermelon, yummy. Good morning, sweetie. Okay, sorry, let me swallow these walnuts and stuff. This is my dessert. I don't know if I told you guys, I probably did. I wouldn't say on diet, but since I started the shamanic stuff, this guy actually corrected my energy, and I'm eating better. So I'm doing something that they call it intermittent fasting, and one in particular they do is like only one meal a day. So every 23 hours I eat a meal, and I have 1 hour to do it, which was now, and then nothing until tomorrow morning. So there you go. And apparently this is supposed to work out. You eat whatever you want. It's kind of like going a little bit slower, but at the very least you're not deprived. So my apologies for the last time. It was completely my fault. I thought I set everything up, and I did initially, but I have played a little music clips for every sign, and then I got copyright notice and said let's not do that. It was not released yet, so it didn't activate. So I went to re-edit my videos, remove it, and I forgot to click on Premiere, and it really sucked. So I really want to give it a try once to make it work, but I really didn't want to risk it today. So hey, good morning Chris. So let's start guys. I have a new lineup, and I really have to say that my system, vote with a click, is actually really working. Sorry. There's like one thing that really happened, which is kind of like very surprising. Any Cancers in the house here? Leo was really dominating the stage. You probably know that, right? But what happened was, I don't know what it was that I was really delayed. Was it Mercury retrograde a little bit? Yeah, I was delayed with releasing my monthlies with that. And then poor Cancer, it was the dead last. And I was thinking, never mind. I'm not going to even read Cancer. Who cares? But then kind of like few people really appealed to me, and I said, come on, it's not fair. Like you have a few of us here, And I said to myself, you know what? This could be YouTube algorithm. Not so much Cancers, because people did say, look, I'm not getting any recommendations anymore. And I said, okay, let's do it this way. And that's why I'm doing this new concept where I have this big chunk and the small kind of highlights, so people who are newbies can actually just grab a few of them. And that really worked very well. Some people got really annoyed, but there was like 2 or 3 of them, I think. But nobody else did, and I see that things actually started to turn around, which was kind of cool. But Cancer was delayed almost like 20 days after Leo, which was first. And Cancer, guess what? Managed to get to be second. So good for you, Cancer. So it goes to show that you can do anything. So we have the order, and I hope you like my new icons that I had the last time. I still need to get a Kleenex. I don't know, am I having some kind of like sniffles? We're having a rain in Toronto. How is the weather where you are? Okay, let me get some Kleenex. I'll be right back. I should probably teach Tiger to do that. Apparently these dogs are so smart. They can cook and clean the house. Today I was teaching him play dead. I mean, he knows just the regular stuff. Sit down, high five, give a paw, spin clockwise. Not really expanded repertoire, because like I was like really more focused on controlling his fear aggression, lashing out at kids. But I figured let's try to teach him something. So I kind of like wanted to teach him play dead. Took 3 repetitions. He was playing dead just to get a treat. So there you go. Field work. Oh my gosh. South Carolina. Very nice. Look at that, you guys. We have a rain. What is with December? Like, I don't remember having this many rains in the summer. So let's start. Without further ado, let's start. Let me use certain kind of like things. Let me use these icons again. Where did I put it? And the first sign is Leo. Let's start with Leo. Da 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 da. All right, so it's going to be going back and forth between 2 different programs, but hopefully it is going to work out. So I'm going to use Gilded Tarot, and I'm going to use the Gypsy cards for clarification if I need anything. And just to let you know, I have been fiddling with my tripod and with my camera, just try to position this better. I just couldn't wait for the 15th for the shadow of Mercury to be gone. And in the last hour of Mercury shadow, I had flickering computer, graphic card was dying, and so I shut it down for a day, and it did start to work again. So there you go. So Kylie is from Australia. We have North Americans here. We have Canadians here. I think something flicked. 2 of Cups. What is Leo? What's going on with this 2 of Cups? That's one of those, and I was just like looking how it flicked and flicked around, or was it that way? I really like this one because it actually shows 2 women, and women are representing that emotional aspect of it. But when this kind of like shows up this way, that it reverses, it kind of like is talking about, you know, maybe certain things, maybe certain contracts are ready to go. This can talk about those karmic, you know, decisions that we make, right? So let's see, what else do you have? You have 6 of Cups. Leos, do you have some past? Hey, Scotland. I met a Scottish guy yesterday, and he was telling me all about Scotland. He said, you know that Border Collie is a Scottish dog? I said, yeah, actually I didn't know that. So there you go. So he was like saying this is the country of Sean Connery, and it was like really cute how he was like advertising the country. Welcome. So can you hear me sniffling? This just started, probably after food. I was eating some hot peppers, which I mistakenly purchased because I kind of like cannot tolerate hot food, and I think that's what's happening. It's going to go away. So you guys have 2 of Cups and 6 of Cups. You're getting a full-blown reading, which kind of like is deserving of royalty. Happy birthday, Leos. I think you have 5 more days, almost the entire week, because this time around, everything until 23rd is basically under your crown. So this is kind of like a lovely thing to see. So what I'm seeing here, guys, I'll be very honest with you, because look, we are going from 6 to 7 cups. That's what I'm observing. We are going from 1 to 4, and then we have 2 twos. It sounds to me, guys, and I would like to hear if you have any Leos. So Leo Sun, Leo Moon, or Leo Ascendant over here. Also Venus sometimes relates to emotions as well. If you're looking for somebody else, look for their Mars. So it sounds to me, guys, that you have still memories of the past about someone. I mean, I'm Leo Moon as well, Fern. And these memories of the past are kind of, I don't know if bittersweet is the best wording over here, but rather than, there is like something living in the past. And maybe at this stage, I think it's less bitter and also less sweet. It's kind of getting neutralized, I would say. It almost looks like Leo is ready. You're ready to roar. You're ready to kind of like find a new mate. This kind of like is very promising. I absolutely love, especially this combination. Oh my gosh, I just love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. You are like telling yourself that you have been unrealistic. You are telling yourself that you have been chasing a rainbow, proverbial rainbow. Sometimes that realization is pretty good. Like, I'm not telling you to settle down or to pick anybody who likes you. No, not at all. But it kind of like sounded like you have been chasing something that maybe didn't exist. And something like that, you're letting it go. You're leaving it as a memory. And that memory is kind of like fading. 2 of these cards are kind of like reversing. Maybe there was like something karmic in this situation, even though I don't have karmic cards over here, right? Like, but I have these 2 cards, right? So 2 and 6 would be 8, which does add to your card, the strength card. So it's kind of like linking back to you. And this could be something that you have done earlier in the life, or something that you have done in your past lives, and hence it's kind of like very important. Now, when this 2 of Cups reverses, it's clearly telling, look, letting go is the key over here. There is like disconnect, like, you know, like we used to be able to like pull the cord of the phone, and that will kind of like pull the cord. That was the meaning, like no more, don't bother me anymore, right? But right now this is kind of like being unplugged. It is like realization that somebody was unworthy of you. It was just clear as a day that I see it here. That's what I see, and I don't know who are the Leos, who are basically Empress Bella. They'll be able to tell me if this is their energy coming through, or I'm getting that energy very strongly. Now, as far as the future, this is a strong motion forward. Oh my goodness, you're having this Ace of Pentacles. This is my favorite ace. And I like when this ace comes with another ace as well. This is talking about stability. This is talking about new beginnings, abundance, prosperity, right? Steve, that's lovely. Steve said, I would say, Kat, you're getting into my mind with this reading. So this is, guys, about something new. There could be love messages. That could be flirtations. You maybe haven't flirted in a while. Maybe you have been brewing. Maybe you have been angry. Maybe you have been suffering from some kind of like melancholy, right? Kind of like, it's not going to happen to me. That's going to change this week, guys. Remember, the 15th for you was the marker. Like first on the 11th, Jupiter went forward. And now we don't have Mercury. Guys, you are going to be basking in abundance this week. Totally. Like, I mean, literally whatever you touch is going to be going forward. Except you're going to do everything with kind of research with reservation, right? Because after all, you're having this dude, Four of Pentacles, right? He's saying, you know what, I have been in a situation when I gave everything and I lost everything. How about I keep this? How about I kind of stabilize myself? I have this and I cannot give everything, but I can give some, right? This is still about control, but this is also about influence. This is also about security. He is reserved. Like, this is the person who would be reserved in going into new situations, right? And almost like this person would look, that other person first shows them that, hey, you know, they invite them somewhere or they pay something for them before they will give back. It's kind of like really a good balance in this, but it almost like could be a little bit stingy, kind of like seen, not very typical of Leo, but it's understood given what you guys had to go through, right? I really think also that you're feeling that you want to find a partner who is not going to be, let's say, drain on your resources, who both emotional and material resources, right? You're also feeling, and that's why I said kind of like you are not necessarily settling down, but like you're going through some realistic configuration of what and how you want to do it. Now I moved it and now I messed it up. How about this way? So Seven of Cups is that, to me, dreamer's card. And when we dream big, right? We dream power, we dream peace, we dream diamonds, we dream like this new increase of some kind of like fire in our life. But this has reversed. So now this is really interesting because both of them here have been reversed. So when they're reversing, they don't necessarily have to take completely opposite meaning, right? With Six of Cups here, it's kind of like you're saying to yourself, oh, maybe I have been naive, you know, maybe somebody abused your naivete, if you wish, right? Maybe that's just a big disappointment about that. But here, it's basically talking about indecision, and we can see that over here, right? And being overwhelmed. There is like still some kind of insecurity. So things are going forward, but things are waiting for you to say yes. You know how I'm teaching my puppy, and well, it's just, I had everything perfect and now I messed it up. So I put a little kind of like treat in my hand, and I don't want him to grab it. I want him to look at me before I say yes, and then he can have it, right? If he grabs it before, I just close my hand. That's kind of how I feel with you guys, that you're like trying to reach out, that you're trying to say, hey, you know, I'm here. So it could be someone. This also could be someone you might meet. You might meet who is also very reserved. So instead of judging the person or thinking maybe the person is stingy, think through that this person could have gone through some difficult ordeal. In any case, it's going to be really difficult to kind of like make this decision. It's kind of like jumping in the water. You kind of like initially you're squeamish, it's cold, I don't know about that, kind of a thing. So that's going to kind of hold you back a little bit. But I really like this because this is a beginning. This is a new beginning of something where you're no longer dweller of the past. You are at this stage moving into your, let me tell you, a better future. And this is like being very, very grounded. Grounded is a good thing. That's something that I need, having so much air. And I can actually advise you. You see this white stone? It's called howlite. How is this spelled? Howlite, I believe. It looks like a marble. It has this like gray specks in it, and it is really good for grounding. I also bought it with the bracelet of lava stones. So from me being so much air and to kind of like be really grounded in what my expectations are, this really helps me a lot. And I would really suggest this. What's up, meetings? You wanna come on the table? You wanna come to the table? We have the visitor who is deciding to be a cameraman. Yeah. Are you a cameraman now? That's all him doing. Let me see if I can stabilize this now. Back to stabilization. You wanna come back? You wanna come to the table, mister? Huh? Huh, mister? Ah, there you go. I'm messing this all up. So actually, this is really good representation, Leo. What you'll be going through this particular week is going to be a little bit like a seesaw. It's going to be up and down and up and down and up and down, and it's going to be that internal struggle. What do you do, and how do you go about it? And there, I did mess it again, and then you mess it again, and then you make it straight. So it's just like a person who is really trying to go in the waters, and it's going to be scary, but the fact is that you are doing it. You're going into that. You are enthused. So I really want to check this one out, because the rest is, to me, kind of like rather clear. I'm not having any kind of like issues here understanding this part and this part, and I didn't check the messages going here. But let me get a few cards for these two cards. And this is like this seesaw that we have seen, that you might have other people just like this pretty fellow, my black kitty matrix, going to come, hey, look at me, I'm cute, and you will think, what is this person wanting from me? You will really, like, it's going to be even a little bit of self kind of like caution or shyness. Well, does this person really like me? Is this person flirting with me? But yeah, is this person going to stay, right? You're going to have that, which, hey, that kind of kills the mood, right? So why not to flirt? You don't have to say yes. You don't have to sign any paper just because you're flirting. Just kind of like keep practicing. I feel, Leo, you didn't do that in a while. So it is really, really time. Okay. Oh, I'm getting loves over here. So there is like one card here, and 2 and 3. So we have thoughts. Exactly. You're thinking. Did I just not say that you're thinking? But you're thinking that you should go on this journey, but you're also thinking, is this person going to hurt me? So this is just confirming what I have told you. As you can see, no matter what method you use, you're getting the same confirmation, right? Journey is the key card, because we see this journey. I see this journey. Journey is a very important card, right? Because with journey, that means you are moving on, and you guys are one of those signs. When you start to move on, you are very, very happy, right? Just think about the lions in a desert, right? So they're like not necessarily sitting in their den all the time. And I really like this guy. In Lenormand, there's this card called Rider. So I don't know if you guys are going on some kind of trip or vacation. Are you relocating or something? Maybe this is kind of like turning a new leaf, making a new things. This is clearly talking about that evolution kind of a thing, or evolution of a situation, right? So this can actually feel, this new person feels like too much like a honeymoon, and that might even scare you, right? But this also could mean a new relationship as a result of travel, right? Now, and thoughts, maybe you're thinking about it, like going into it. Maybe you have somebody who is a little bit at a distance that you have to go and see. This actually, I have to bring up to you, it can talk about that you need to travel to see some kind of health specialist as well, because that sometimes really talks about it. But it can also indicate people whose career involves kind of traveling, like a pilot, a driver, or somebody who is like working on a ship, that kind of stuff, right? So keep moving. This is the card that talks about keep moving, because kind of like staying still means you're missing these opportunities, and I think that's exactly the key over here. I know I'm spending too much time on your reading for weeklies, but never mind. Like, we are doing this because you guys have it first. You see, there are benefits of being first, and also it's your birthday time. An enemy, probably you're saying, Cat, why you're not talking about his enemy over here, right? Well, it is a negative card. There is like a foe, there is an enemy. But when it's reversed, it really talks about the ending of an obstacle and ending of hostility. And it goes back to this, it kind of like, it tells you like, why did I feel, that I have been deceived? Like, now you're going to think of this as a joke. And when you start to laugh at yourself, that's when you know that you're healed, right? And you're going to say, I dodged this one. What the hell was wrong with me all this time? All the healing, right? It's kind of like almost like if you have some enemy, for example, at work, you're going to disarm them, like, I mean, neutralize them before damage could be done, right? So this is kind of like in a company of positive cards, so it kind of like really works very well. If you guys have, I don't know, somebody who you're dealing who has maybe substance abuse, or a competition, or male enemy, right? Or somebody who is like a really secret or secretive, right? This is the Jack of Spades card in the regular deck, and you know, we hear a lot about this Jack of Spades because of it. You never know, it's a jack in the box kind of a thing. This particularly also refers to dates end of February, early March. So either something happened to you, or you're connecting to the people who have been born at this time, and so on and so forth. So Leos, I really have to say, you need to kind of start opening up, because other people are looking at you, they're interested in you. So do not put a head in the sand. You're not an ostrich, right? It is like time to start moving forward. So that's really nice. That's nice. So the next one is, oh, guesses. Did I not? Who is here in the beginning that kind of like they remembered? What am I doing? I'm opening a wrong program. The next one is this one. We are going to Cancer reading. That's how I talk to my little tiger, and he kind of gets really excited. So we will see if he really comes across this way. So Cancer, 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 Cancer. Ooh, Barbie and her beautiful icons, and she's giving them already sort of like a special meaning. Is anybody else drinking a coffee? That's my dessert while I'm on a diet. It's kind of like hard when you have so much weight to lose. It feels like even dropping 10 pounds, it feels like a drop in the ocean. It's kind of like I'm going to just start showing somewhere at the end of the year if I continue like that. Okay, Cancers, tell me something for Cancers. We have a King of Wands who is reversing here, and then we have Ace of Wands. Did you guys go through a recent breakup? Did you guys deal with someone who kind of like promised you the world, and then, yep, that's you, Queen of Cups. It was something that just didn't work. It was something that you gave your all, and the other person feels that he or she gave their all. So one person was like more emotional, other person was more let's do stuff. It could have been a little bit of conflict in terms of how you want to deal with things and how you want to resolve things, right? But this Ace of Wands is telling me that either you're going to get completely new zest and moving forward, because I really feel this relationship did quite a bit of, I would not say so much damage as if kind of like change the fabric of who you are. You know how you can be a happy-go-lucky person, and then you meet somebody who hurts you, and then become depressed, and then you become grumpy, you can become aggressive, you know, and maybe this is like what you hate more than anything else. But what you also need to understand is like the other person also, where is my angry unicorn? The other person also went from this to this, right? Oh, he closed his mouth. But you want person who is more or less like this. You want this like sweetheart, and you want to be sweetheart. And I really think this is going to be the highlight of this week. I also have to say that it's very possible that some of you are going to you're going to reconnect with this person, because Ace of Wands is generally talking about this like new flame and new beginnings, and it's really can talk about sex. Now guys, if you want someone, really want someone, and they just call you at 2 o'clock in the morning, just don't bother picking up that phone, and make sure you turn off the phone before you go to bed, right? Because you need to give yourself a worth. You need to assign yourself worth that you want to have, and tell yourself what you want and what you don't want, what you're going to allow, what you're not going to allow. So this is about potential. So do not blast this potential. Don't push it out of the water, right? By making something silly. Because they're kings and queens. They're not pages and knights. If you just go back to where you were, where you felt stabilized, where you felt, well, this is who I am, I really think it can really work. But it takes time usually for that to do, and it's not going to happen with silliness. It's not going to happen, oh, let's have sex. It's kind of like only going to make both partners believe that you're really just, abusing the relationship instead of working on it. Instead, an Ace of Wands is also talking about it. Yes, you can talk about sex, and usually this is the easiest kind of gate entry for couples. But you can definitely talk about kind of like sitting down and saying, I thought I would get over you, but I'm still thinking about you. How about you, right? Kind of a mature conversation. And then decision, look, obviously we pushed each other in the spaces where we really didn't behave like who we really are. And I don't want you to remember me like this because I'm not that person. But I'm afraid if you just go right back, we're going to immediately be at each other's throats, right? So it's going to be sort of like something, if you go with this mature stage slower, where you can kind of like push yourself forward into being who you are, and that would be a really great thing to do, because that, like, wands, fire and water can be steam, can be volcano, that hot lava that is coming down right when they meet. So kind of like just keep that in mind. So let me see what you guys get. You have merchant. Maybe you were dealing with somebody who is self-employed. Maybe you're dealing with somebody who is married, and hence maybe that little unicorn somebody was giving you lots of promises. Yeah, that could have been that way. Well, in this case, again, it's going back to self-esteem and self-understanding, because this is now giving me additional information. It's not only confirming this, but it's giving me something extra. You could be dealing with somebody who is, let's say, maybe working at a distance. Maybe it's a soldier. Maybe it's somebody who's traveling for business a lot. That kind of sort of a things. When this card Lord shows up reversed, Lord to me always talks about a dude who is committed, right? And this is guy who comes this way who is not committing. But it was like, not you didn't commit, he didn't commit, and yet that was still something going. Or you might meet somebody like that where it will be immediate like spark, but it would feel like, well, this is really, really not serious. So this dude, and I believe that's the same person or a woman, it's somebody who's coming from some status or some kind of like wealth. That could be somebody who is a manager, who is a supervisor, right? Boss, right? Employer, but it also can be somebody who is a gentleman, right? And somebody who can actually really give advice. But this person here is up and here is down. So just like here, I don't know, wishy-washy, I don't know where I am, I don't know what I'm doing, right? So I would really say that this person could be of a very poor character. So maybe you will have this talk and you will have the promise, yes, and maybe somebody told you that they're separated. They're really maybe not separated. Separated people I don't date. I don't care how nice they are, I don't care how lovely they are, I am just simply not dating them. And if I find that somebody had a recent breakup, I also wish them all the best and ask them to call me in a year or so. It's just a self-protection, because these people bring so much baggage, and I don't want to be begging for their affection. That affection should be there to be given if something develops, or not to be given. In that stage, I know it's not, because I know myself in a bad situation. So this could be one of those people who is seeking, who is seeking that healing, but who can be very selfish. And so this can talk about a husband who doesn't love, or a person of a poor character, somebody without scruples, but also can talk about somebody who is in a bad physical shape, kind of a thing, right? This is a person who has been wounded by life. So that's why I'm telling you, be very careful of people who have situations, you know, because, you know, this will be the King of Hearts kind of a thing, right? In thing, and it could be husband as well. So that's kind of like, to me, it's tricky, because maybe somebody have been promising and promising and promising, and each time this promise ends up, well, let's go to bed, right? Kind of a thing. And then you feel silly because this person keeps doing the same old, same old. So maybe you should start, just put a mute button on, and the mute button only sees what they're doing. And if they do the same thing twice, which is letting you down, you will need to, you know, man up and let go. Because this card here, it's talking about that, you know, this despair, you can stop it. Like, I mean, this is called jealousy, you know, in the other decks, which talks about jealousy, right? But it still talks about it, that there are like issues, and it tells me that there still will be emotions, there still will be anger, but there is like a stop to this, right? So any kind of confusing situations or disorder, or somebody who's possibly nervous or freaked out, any kind of like falsehoods can maybe enter kind of like your sphere. But this is really saying, like, you just need to be who you are. You need to live your life with courage. You need to kind of like stand and say, look, you know, yes, I can eat this rotten apple or I can just grin and bear for, you know, whatever short period of time, and I'll find somebody better. And just thinking, oh, it's never going to happen to me, it's never a good kind of like way to go about that, right? So don't kind of like put yourself down. And I think that's really key of this reading. You really need to be strong. You need to be true to yourself. You are a sensitive sign, and you want people who will be there for you. So let's see. And Matrix is coming, so we might be having another cameraman kick in the camera. So the next one, now believe it or not, this is another sign that has been like toward the last, is Gemini. And after that we are going to have Capricorn. So let me see, where is my Gemini thing, and where is my this thing? So we're having all of that together. And Geminis, you did really well. I just want to thank you for really coming through. I think Gemini said, no, we are not all bad. There were like some bad Geminis. I even think I had somebody commenting on this. Because of course. Hey! Hey, hey! Hey, hey! How are you? How are you? How are you? Hey, you dust bunnies everywhere? Dust bunnies everywhere? Huh? You're showing up for Geminis. Yes. Good Geminis? Do you like Geminis? He doesn't talk like Safi. With him, it's all actions. Like, I mean, whenever he wants to show love, he kind of shows up like that, and he wants to bat his head, just like when I sleep. That's what he wants to do the whole night long. He's like really cuddly. So I really think he's either Scorpio, which I'm celebrating definitely October 28th, when I found him and rescued him. But I think he could be Taurus. You want to be Gemini for today? Huh? Okay. I'm full of fur now, Matrix. I'm full of fur. Thank you, Barb. There we go. He did make his touch, right? He did make his touch. So this one came through. Okay, Gemini. Some devil. It's you, little devil. What's going on here? What's going on here, Geminis? Devil and Ace of Cups reversed. Then you have Queen of Wands. Then you have Knight of Swords, Six of Swords, Seven of Cups, Nine of Wands, Three of Cups, and Nine of Pentacles. And now you cannot see the cards because he has moved. Can you see this little footprints on the table? So that's not working well. Okay. Unless I glue it to the floor, which I can't, like this tripod can be easily moved. And my kitties know it, and that's how they get my attention. So sorry about that, Gemini. Okay. Let me tell you what I see over here. I'll just move it over there instead of everything, and hopefully it's going to work better. I do see here that there is somebody possible in your life. There is a couple here, but this couple is not necessarily together. Or you might be having people coming in your life who are not staying, or you're not keeping them. Either or, right? One of the things. So instead of love, they're offering you something that doesn't maybe qualify as love in your head, right? You kind of like really want somebody with a higher energy over here, because you have wands and air and you have swords and wands over here, so air and fire. You want somebody who does stuff. At this stage, you really don't want a couch potato. You're really interested in somebody interesting, but also in somebody who will do stuff and not only sit on a couch and talk all the time. But I really think that the devil card really shows when there are like lots of issues in a way, right? So the devil card is, to me, whenever it shows, I always see X's. I always see X's coming through. And we just went out to this Mercury retrograde, and they show up, right, in spades. And they want you, and they miss you, and kind of like you get all of these beautiful emotions that have been happening. But this card really talks about this is illusion, and I really think you have already determined that's illusion, right? It's kind of like the binding is of your own kind of a thing. So it is time to ask yourself kind of like what basically is holding you back. If you have somebody in your life, then there's like something holding you back to kind of like go full speed with this person, right? It could be because maybe somebody has one of those red flags, kind of like deal breaker, kind of like characteristics, addictions, or being controlling, be very materialistic, obsession. Maybe you feel you're not in this person's league, or you feel this person is not going to feel that you're in their league, and since you are not allowing any classist kind of attitude, it kind of like you find it a little bit repugnant. Because I'm seeing it here, you're seeing that there is no option but just moving on. Like, you're freaking moving on, and whatever it was in the past, you're leaving it in the past. Or if this is somebody appearing in the present who is just kind of like, let's say, a suspicious character who is kind of like always coming up with something that is half-baked and giving you the stories that are sort of like weak or unreliable, or somebody's disorganized, somebody's impatient. You're saying to yourself, look, I have been hurt before. I want myself for things to happen really fast, but where did it get me? I'm getting all kind of people who want to resolve their situation in a hurry instead of really finding who I am. And that's why the Six of Swords is showing up. I really like this card, Six of Swords. In this particular deck, this person is traveling on her own. And I think this is possibly, aside from the Star card, one of my favorite cards, because it's really telling me about endurance. It's telling me about, you know, how beautiful it is when you see people healing, when they pick themselves up, in spite of, like, we live in hard times, and people are ridiculing people for a whole bunch of stuff. Like right now, I'm, let's say, fat. And I'm not going to be fat forever. I wasn't fat before, so before, the guys would break their neck to open the door for me. Now they will slam the door in my face, right? But this is the person who is raising above and not allowing these things to get into them. And it's a person who finds solutions and who understanding that change and transition is very, very important, right? Because look at this. We have a 6 and 7. That makes 13. And this is really also talking about this transition. And you're saying to yourself, no more all this daydreaming. No more I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. I need to focus. I need to focus, and I only have one option. And yes, maybe I'm not going to go and walk toward that option in a straight line. Maybe there are going to be, you know, issues when I'm going to fall down. I will need to dust myself and pick myself up. But Oh my goodness, look at it here. You're getting Three of Cups and you're getting Nine of Pentacles. So this is the joyful kind of thing in the end, that you will be looking back and you're saying, yeah, it was thick and thin, but I did it. I'm going through it. So this week, look at how many cards you got. This week is going to be very intense for you, I really have to say. I really don't have much to confirm other than that I really want to see this like Knight of Swords. What is this all about that? Or I don't know, maybe just grab the cards in general to kind of like seal the reading. And Barbie's ordering that we are going to have questions for the crowd, so we can do that. So let's see. Ooh, well, you have 3 reversals. You have baby, you have priest, and you have reunion. Just as it showed there. Maybe it was somebody with whom you have a baby. Clearly, sometimes it's literal meaning, right? Maybe it is that you were considering staying with this person because of religious reasons, right? But I really think it's coming to you that you're saying to yourself that you'll be healthier and better off by having people around you who are supportive of you and doing things that are positive, not continuously dwelling in that space where things are somehow not really working out. So let me see if I prepared the icon that Barbie is asking for. Yep, that's the one, that's the one. Where is my little thing? So let me try to find the deck, and we are going to use this deck. We're going to use this deck. I have to do it. I have to do it off this thing so you cannot see that. Hello, Knitting Yogi. You came. You can ask yourself a question. Actually, you know what? I have a better method this time around, and you're not going to see it. How about this? Think of a question, you guys, you want answered, and I'm shuffling here behind, so without you watching what I'm doing, so I can have more of a table. Shuffling, shuffling, shuffling. I'll have 3 doors. Hi, Matrix. Ask a question, Matrix. Ask a question. Yes. Ask a question. Okay, up he goes. Okay, this first card, jump through. And this, I'm going to leave it like this. Okay, guys, I am removing this. The veil is removed, and let's go with this. This is the door number 1, this is the door number 2, and this is the door number 3. So if this is what you want for your question, the answer is 5 of C. Short answer is no. Long answer is you're focusing on the wrong thing. And look at this kitty, really wanted to get into these fishes, into the stuff, and it just kind of came to some kind of like embarrassment. Maybe somebody was embarrassing in your life. Maybe you felt a situation kind of like made you kind of like go out of your way to help someone, and somebody let you down. That's the card that generally talks about, you know, feeling sad, feeling really saddened about it. It's also the card that talks about, look at this, everything is so beautiful around you. Look around. There is like so much more fish in the sea. So if you're asking about one person, I really think this person will let you down all over again. Number 2, the priest. Oh my gosh, who asked for door number 2? Okay, I want to know who here asked for door number 2. Let me see. Quick, because I have a feeling somebody's asking if something's going to be very serious. Somebody's asking if I'm going to get there. This talks about contract, this talks about marriage, this talks about relationships. So the answer is yes, yes, yes. However, it has to be with certain rules that you need to agree upon. So this is a very strong card, guys. So Miss Wizard, good for you. And the last one is 7 of C. I really think this is not something that you guys want very strongly. You're saying to yourself, yeah, I kind of want that, but if something better comes along, I can do that too. So this is really clearly telling you that you need to go back and think about if you really want it. If you really don't want it, if you don't care, just don't generate that energy. Have anybody watched this Marie Kondo, the organizing Japanese lady? Um, she's kind of like interesting but silly at the same time. So there are parts of her teaching about organizing home that I love. And she says, keep the stuff around you that you love, that makes you happy. Which of course would be really difficult if you have encyclopedias or if you have, knives that don't necessarily make me happy, but I need them to cook, right? So that's, hello, hello. You had one of those embarrassing moments. That's why we have 5 of C over here, because she wanted to jump on the chair and she flipped down, but then she pretended it didn't happen and came back. So guys, in the stage number 3, door number 3, things will happen, but I'm telling you, do you really want them to happen? Do you really want to keep them? Is there really something that you think is the best that you can actually really do in your life? So the next one, guys, is Capricorn. Capricorn kind of like went way up. There we have the Capricorn. Safi, do you think we can read Capricorn? Where's Capricorn? Here we go. Can we read Capricorn? Are you going to assist? Okay. Assist me. Assist me. You pretty girl. You pretty girl. I love you. Do you love Capricorns? How much? Huh? Who else do you love? Do you love everybody on the chat? Really? How much? You're leaving the little steps everywhere because mommy shined the table, but it's no more. Okay, Capricorn. Yeah, she's clearly very talkative kitty. We have Wheel of Fortune. Ooh. We have 7 of Swords. Ooh. Yeah, she's very sweet. She's super sweet. This is my little soulmate. Right, Seth? Okay. See, now she's super careful going down. You should see that. It's like one toe at a time going down on the chair. Okay. I don't like this, Capricorn. I don't like this. Okay. And this one also wants to come down. At least something up. So good and bad news, Capricorn. If you are doing some kind of investing and you're looking for a job, or it's not going to happen. It's going to feel like that somebody pulled a rug under your feet. So be prepared. The Wheel of Fortune is kind of like a really important card. It's my karma card, right? It's literally that spin that is really happening. The good news about this card is realization that things are, yeah, maybe right now, like, I mean, against you, but the only way to go is up when the card comes this way. This card more worries me. The 7 of Swords is the card that talks about betrayals. The 7 of Swords is a card telling me that somebody's taking something away from you, something that you have worked very hard to get or to be, or to be, like maybe you have been giving so much, maybe it was paid forward, but it's also some kind of escape. Maybe your partner will just disappear. Maybe that's why I have this Page of Pentacles over here. Maybe it was a long time coming, but it's just simply like becoming really evident. It is talking about some kind of irresponsibility and deception over here, right? I wish it was reversed, like, because that would be way better. And then we have like this Page of Pentacles to boot over here. Like pages, like, I mean, are slow, and Pentacles are slow, and this is reversed. So what can go wrong? So this is talking about some ignorance and immaturity and frustration. So it's going to be very, very frustrating week. But then, coming Friday, you're going to say to yourself, oh my God, and sorry for my language, I had a very shitty week. I have to have this glass of beer. I have to have this glass of wine. And the moment when you kind of relax, this Page of Cups starts to kind of show up. Because the Page of Cups is like you're going to have a person around you who is possibly younger and could be much younger than you, who's going to make you feel really good. Pages of Cups are usually to be the harbingers of love, and it's somebody who is naturally happy. That, you know, like when people are so happy, they just put smile on your face, because just walk down the street and smile at somebody. I do it every day when I walk my dog. People smile back. It's just reflex. And so not only are you making somebody else happy, but somebody else will be making somebody else happy. So it's just kind of like a chain of things that are happening, and hopefully comes the full circle, right? Tiger? She's complaining. He's like touching her with the nose. He doesn't understand. He's much stronger than she is. So this guy could be somebody new coming in your life, and it's kind of like on one side of the life, and this talks to me more like a business, or more like about your work life that can be really affected. But in the private sphere, it's going to work really, really well, or it's going to work out that way toward the end, right? See, it could be like that a partner is letting you down, or a partner is withdrawing, or you find your partner being with somebody else, because Seven of Swords is really telling me, you know, that somebody calls you, oh, I've seen your partner. I mean, and then you go, no, it couldn't be possible. And then you catch them lying, and then it's just like not, you see, yeah, you're going to really, and this actually could be for some of you also for relationships. You have the Sweetheart, you have Death, and you have Foe. So Sweetheart is here reversed, right? So that means somebody is showing up kind of like their ugly side, right? It can actually also talk about unrequited love. It's disappointment. It can be heartbreak. It could be being kind of like really that let down. But then when I have this combination, it can actually also talk about, I don't know, that there is like somebody, a rival who is no longer in the picture, kind of a thing. It's not close to the positive cards, but it could mean that the love is lost and it's not recoverable at that stage, right? But if it comes to work, then you might not be getting what you want professionally. Maybe it is a time to look for a new job, or maybe you have played a stock market and the stock market said, I don't love you anymore. It's clearly a possibility. See, the Death card is a little bit different in this deck than it would be in the other, like, what do you call this, Lenormand, or in the tarot decks, because here is clearly talking about time to move on. It's divorce, it's that ending, and so there is going to be something that is going to come to that natural end. It's not going to be very shocking, you know, but it also can talk about understanding that certain things haven't been workable. Maybe there is somebody else who has been, you know, around you and kind of like creating problems, right? But I also think that some of you, I don't know, like when I got these cards initially, I really felt strongly this is relating to work situation. That maybe some of you overstayed in a position where you're at, and it is really time to move on, right? Because that rivalry that I'm seeing over here, somebody wants to break something up, whether at work, or somebody's undermining you at work, or in your relationship there's like somebody who is getting involved over here, not on your behalf. It's, you know, you see it all the time, and sometimes it starts, you're focusing on a person who is poisoning your relationship without realizing that maybe your boyfriend, maybe your girlfriend is the one who started some nonsensical conversations which kind of ended in a way that the other person wants to help them, but they don't know the whole story. So they're tooting their horn without realizing this was just maybe frustration of one time or something. And that would be Matrix and Safi at that stage. What, is all three of you playing? What's going on? So I guess, guys, you know, if you see the threat, close the door to it. That's what I would say. It's, if you see this person who is doing that, you know, do not accept their advice. And with this person, you have to be extremely neutral. Don't be superficial, but kind of like don't share joy and don't share sorrow, like nothing, right? That I see here. But there's like somebody who is really going to come in your life, and you're going to see, well, you know, maybe that was a situation that I was in, that I was not supposed to be in, and you're going to be actually even feel relieved at one point. So it's going to kind of like be different. Sorry guys, but it's going to be one of those weeks for you. But at least toward the end of the week, you're going to have a nice drink or nice dinner with someone, and it's going to make up for everything. Okay, so who is next? Who is next? Where is my list here? My list, the next one is Sagittarius, and after Sagittarius we're going to have Aquarius, and after Aquarius it's going to be Scorpio. So you know the lineup for the next 3. Okay, Sagittarius, let's see Sagittarius. And thank you everybody for being here. Please click like. There are like lots of issues with this what do you call it, YouTube algorithm. It is crazy. Ever since I started with these little slices, it just like went through the roof because I was playing their algorithm, and it really shouldn't be this way. YouTube is made for people with very short attention span. For example, videos like that, like this, will be rated very low. Oh my gosh, 2 hours. Who is going to listen to 2 hours? And maybe they're right, but I just like feel anything else doing would be kind of reckless with people's emotions. Thank you. I like these kitty icons too. I had the ones with the grumpy cat, but since this grumpy cat belongs to somebody else, I decided to do my own. Grumpy cat died. I don't know if you know, this guy's kind of had some kind of like failure. Sagittarius, you have 5 of Cups. And that's a very, very tricky card. Neptune is Sagittarius. This is not that important, I really have to tell you. And the reason why I'm saying this is we have the inner planets, we have outer planets. So when you have something that is outer, it doesn't affect us as much. It takes that light a long time to travel over here. So Sagittarius, this is you coming through over here. There is a 5 of Cups, there's a 3 of Pentacles, this is 8. This is going back to Strength card to Leo. You might be connecting to Leo at this stage. There is like some kind of sadness, and this is a very tricky card, as I told you, to interpret. Many people, when it's reverses, they're talking about a lover coming back, everything is resurrecting, kind of like things are working well. But the way I learned tarot was, yes, I have learned the theory, but I'm still drawing a card a day or sometimes 2 or 3, and just see what kind of like comes out. It's not always huge and things, but this card never ever came to me reversed as somebody coming back. So I would more or less say this is about acceptance of something, but it's also about forgiveness and nostalgia. And it could be about a partner over here, because I see 3 of Pentacles reversed, right? It's kind of like sadness over something that you have been building and it kind of like didn't work out or couldn't work out, because you wanted somebody to see you in a really good light, and something happened. You know, what I see here is like this chain is kind of like almost like loose. So you're kind of like letting go of some kind of expectations. Maybe you have been waiting for somebody to call you. Maybe you have been waiting for somebody to commit to you, or you had issues committing, because the Knight after all is here, not a King. Because the Knight kind of like, it feels like it is time for me to move on. It is like time for a whole bunch of things to kind of like move forward. Yes, Jupiter turned direct, and that's very important. This is their planet. And poor Sagittarians that didn't have a good times in a long time. So it is very important for me that I see any sign of life. So in a sense, this 9 of Wands, it is a sign of life, because that tells me about you kind of, like, guys feeling determination. You're feeling this energy coming through. You're very passionate, right? But you're also very impulsive. Like a lots of things are happening over here for you. So do not cry over spilled milk. Do not look in the past. Kind of like saddle up, like arm yourself up. And I really like the horse. I really like this guy. He's protecting himself and moving forward. And you're kind of like doing what Sagittarius are doing. Like this Knight of Wands is a dude who is saying, well, you know what, I recharge my energy by going in this new directions. And that's exactly how it's going to feel. It's going to be the beginning of the week. This weekend could feel a little bit like depressive or melancholy, but you are kind of like really good that way. When you start feeling bogged down, you guys just like simply say, yeah, I'm landing back on my feet. You start like, doing things around the house, doing things outside the house. Next thing you know, like you're not even thinking about it, and you're feeling like you're moving in a completely new direction. So let me see what I have here for you. I have Servant, I have Journey, and I have Frivolity. Well, again, Journey, we are seeing it here, right? Servant, something doesn't serve you well here anymore. Clearly, it's a situation that maybe you have been somewhere, or somebody who is connecting with you, because I see lots of cross watchers, because of some kind of convenience. And the Servant, to me, kind of like is the card that would indicate that. It's not somebody who you would, die for, let's say not your family, but it still would be somebody who is faithful and somebody who is respectful, right? So it can really talk about kind of like support system that you had. Maybe you felt that the support system is not there anymore, right? So it's a presence of somebody who can help, but I really feel maybe somebody kind of like guided you out of your own issues over here, and now this is still telling you maybe you need to go into therapy, maybe you need help from a trusted person to resolve this, right? And maybe somebody help you to get to this point, right, where you are. It's very, very important, right? So something granted to you, and maybe you're looking at it, maybe it was you, that you had something given to you and you took it for granted, or somebody took it for granted, and it was just as quickly gone as it showed up. And it kind of like really feels bad, because the frivolity will worries me, right, a little bit, because frivolity really talks about this like lightness, but it can be fickle, it could be really changing, could be impulsive, which kind of is your nature, because you're very kind of like you like to try different things, right? So it could be a moment of uncertainty with kind of like lovers or relatives. This is just telling you, look, don't do something rash that you're going to regret, because this can also mean jumping in with somebody to kind of have a quickie. But at the same time, I really think it's a victory, because this is really telling me you're not taking yourself very seriously. And when people are able to do that, and I wish more people are able to do that, life is better. Because the moment when you kind of like settle yourself with a whole bunch of rules and regulations, you barely crawl under all that kind of like weight. This is much better. So you're getting into your energy, you're getting into your system, and things actually going to work well for you, Sagittarians. So, and don't forget to click, guys, on your readings to get a little bit higher. You're number 5. I think you have been higher before, if I remember well. And the next person next sign I'm going to do is my own. We are going to do Aquarians. Did you ever find a kitty sleeping in the sink? Like, it does happen. Not so much with Matrix, but Safi is always in the sink whenever am I in the bathroom. So let's see Aquarians. Another sip of coffee. Creative girl, good morning. I'm the same way. It's not so much about worry, like when you're like staying up and waiting for somebody, but it is about, hey, you know what? I need to finish this. It could be a goal-oriented kind of like thing. Roller coaster love life. X. Have a good seatbelt. That's, I guess, what you need to really invest into. And some good helmet, and it's all good, right? All right. Let's see. Aquarius, 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 Aquarius. Well, Saturn return is not necessarily a bad thing. If Saturn is in your sign, that's tricky because it literally feels people throwing stones on you. Even though I'm Aquarius and Aquarius is ruled with Saturn and Uranus, we still actually get that. But Saturn can also talk about grounding the energy and winning yourself, getting yourself out of crap, right? So it could be very important. So let's see. Aquarians. Aquarians, 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 Aquarians. Aquarians, something flicked. The Hierophant. I don't like Hierophant. You guys know that I don't like Hierophant, right? But it is another fixed sign. Then we have Ten of Wands reversed, which is good. We have Justice reversed. So, breakups. But this can talk about breaking patterns. I think this Ten of Wands is a clue. You see, Ten of Wands is the dude who is not seeing what is this beauty around him. Look at this beautiful deer. Like the little forest next to which I live here in Toronto has this deer and fawn. You see it all the time. I see beavers, I see foxes. It's actually really beautiful. And little Lady Fox was just, scratching her ear without being really concerned about people going around. So that talks about, oh yeah, we have coyotes as well. So this person is not seeing this beauty. I see many people, they walk by the creature so focused on their walk instead of realizing you are in the nature for a reason. So this card is actually really good because now he's dropping this and he's realizing he was burdened with certain things. Maybe we got burdened with some obligations. Maybe we got burdened with some rules. Maybe other people saddle us with what they want us to do and how they want us to do it. And you know how well that goes with us. We like to have an independence. Maybe something was very frustrating. Maybe we are feeling that we are receiving short end of the stick. And the Justice, a karma card reverses, it kind of like talks about justice not being served. But I have my thought on this. Justice will be served in the end. Maybe this is really talking about somebody getting away with something, right? It could be about a dispute, it could be about dishonesty, and somebody just like is having some kind of lack of accountability. But my 2 cents on that is like, just if you see something like that, that's always, I know, feels weird, especially for me when I have Libra Ascendant, and it kind of like, oh no. It was like this little cartoon that I was watching when I was young in Europe. It was called Calimero. I don't know if you guys had that in North America. It was about the little chick that would always say, oh, that's injustice, that's injustice. It kind of like, when I would say this card, kind of like reminds me of that. And so this kind of like tells me that my 2 cents would be, just sit in the bushes. Taking justice in your hands, you might force your hand into that. But that's why I'm calling this my karma card, because the trick with this card is like not to do it. Because there is a difference between human justice and universal justice. Universal justice is always served. So you see, if you see something done that is unjust, and you, no, so and so did that and da, maybe you're going to push it this way, but then you absorbed this lesson, and then you have to work the extra lesson, versus you just have to work through how you feel about that, how the process is going, right? And by actually letting this down, maybe something is going to end that is no longer going to be a burden. There's like something that maybe you want to quote unquote win emotionally, but it's telling you don't really have to do it. It's not needed for your progress. It's just like maybe ego thing at this stage, because the Hierophant, that's why I don't like it, because it's a lot about ego. Imagine the ego of the person who says, I am God's messenger, God speaks to me. Sure, yeah, okay, right? So, but it could be just that of an ego. And I think sometimes for Aquarians that is really needed, because sometimes we get into our head and feel very prickly about things. So with this combination, it could mean that we might have a very humble week where we'll be really in touch with the nature, where we'll be really in touch with other people, with kind of how we correspond. See, it's a jealousy, child, gift reversed, hope reversed, and frivolity. There were some kind of expectations, I have to tell you, Aquarians, expectations of something to come through. But I can see this jealousy and anger, and I do see a letdowns, unfortunately, I do. So I really think, since Capricorn had a similar reading in flavor, and we have it, that this could be Saturn kind of like doing their thing. But luckily we have this frivolity, even though frivolity is like not the nicest card, it's more or less neutral, right? But this is really talking about kind of like uplift, right? Kind of like, hey, you know, it is time to move on to a next level, to something, right? So kind of like change your position, kind of a thing, right? So it is positive card. So after everything, we are kind of like realizing that the burdens are somehow dropped, kind of like a thing, right? And even though we might actually react in a kind of superficial way, be very careful not to undervalue. So humility is really important, because this can actually talk about undervaluing people or situations and kind of like disregarding the details. And people will be really stickler for the details this week, and almost like tell you that you're losing your credibility because you missed a detail. Aquarians are not detail oriented people. That's why we assign number 11, and this is a card number 11, right? So it's going to be about the big picture. Just as I told you, justice will be served. Big picture. Do not be stickler for the details, because you're going to be wrestling with a pig over here, right? Maybe kind of like it's going to push us close to the edge. We are going to feel like, I mean, tricky in our emotions. It's kind of like going to be this kind of like strange mood or strange feelings, right? So as a health, it could be some kind of like dizziness, it could be kind of confusion over here. We might be actually wasting money, so be very careful with your money this particular week, right? So I really think here is like, don't take life very seriously, just like what Sagittarians got with this card over here, right? Well, we might be indecisive in how to move forward. We might be, oh, I feel, you know, my ego has been bruised, right? But try to think of that this kind of maybe could be a good thing. Like, I mean, not everybody in the world is just looking at you and laughing at you. And even if they do, then you have to figure out what is this talking and telling about themselves. It's something that you started, something that really irritated us. It's not going to pan out. And we need to raise above that. But you know what? This is one of those bigger lessons in life, and that's why the karma card stepped in. So we are being called to graduate or not graduate a karmic lesson, and it's really important for us to understand. Whew, this was heavy. This was heavy. Very, very heavy. So let's check. Next one will be, who is next one? Scorpio. Scorpio. Where's my little thingy? Here we go. Let's do Scorpio, and I keep clicking the wrong things, and each time I kind of like use this. There, show up. You like music? You like music? Woof! Woof, woof, woof! You want to say something? I have to teach him how to talk, and I don't know if that's actually a really good idea, because then he'll probably talk too much. Scorpio. Oh, no, it's not Scorpio. So my online chat manager is saying that before Scorpio, we are going to go into another questions that you can ask. So let me do that. So it's going to be this one. So you guys ask a question, more or less, that is yes or no, even though I do give a little bit of explanation. I am going to, as you can hear me shuffling, pull 3 cards. And one is going to be door number 1, another door number 2, and third door number 3. So let's see that. Let's see this. Okay, let's cut the cards this way, and let's remove this. So it's going to be door number 1, door number 2, and door number 3. So if you ask for this one, door number 1, the answer is 4 of sky. Trust me, you'll be too even exhausted to go in the direction of this wish. For you, unless you ask if you can kind of like catch a break. If you want to catch a break, the answer is big yes. This card is talking about stabilizing yourself. It's also talking about that somebody needs lots of rest. I would advise going to bed before 10:30 at night, because that is going to really help. That is like also the card that tells me that you really need to think through about this particular wish. So contemplation or meditation or simply kind of resting is going to give you a completely different outlook. This card could be yes, but it's going to be delayed, and it kind of like needs a little bit more energy to be placed in it. And in order to have that energy, you need to kind of like really relax in order to obtain it. Door number 2, whoa, 6 of earth. Well, this is a card of generosity. This is a card of inviting somebody into your own space. And I really feel that those of you who picked this card almost like feel that you're in an impossible situation. Maybe you feel that you're trapped. Maybe you feel that somebody's not communicating to you who you really wanted to hear from. But this is really talking about somebody opening the doors to you. All of a sudden, there is going to be this kindness. You need to do some stuff as well, right? So Kitty did ask, can I come in? Can my kitties come in, right? And not only was the food offered, but look, the lick on the top of the head, which is kind of like approval and saying, stay with me, there is enough for everybody. And look at this beautiful little kind of like chair to prop herself forward. So do not feel trapped. You are not trapped. You can move forward. You can go in new directions. It is very important to understand that also maybe generosity is something that you are being called upon to, not to look in every single detail and everything that you feel that you have been wronged, but sort of like to really look for the big picture and kind of like don't sweat the small stuff kind of a thing. And the door number 3, we have Sky King, and I don't like Sky King when he's reversed. It could be somebody who will make a promise. Remember my little unicorn? Somebody who makes a promise, who tells you the stuff, yeah, sure thing, and then he said, what do you mean I promised? I didn't promise. I never said that. They will actually lie right into your face. When this dude reverses, he is not a good person, not at all. This is the person who goes out of their way to harm. So I would really back off from this particular wish entirely, because this can talk about somebody cruel and somebody abusive. Maybe you need to really think why you even want to be with this person in the first place, or somebody would have this kind of effect on you, and clearly is not a good thing. So Scorpio, it is you. The second time I'm calling, so isn't this nice? So let's check you out. Pick number 2 because I needed a new loader to fix my road. Oh, somebody is going to really help you. It's going to be a loan. It's going to be somebody saying, let me give you a hand, or I have this material. It's going to cost you way less, and you're going to be very happy. Very good. So Kylie also got number 2. Okay. Let me have a sip of my coffee. It's already cold. I knock it 3 times. We don't have issues with YouTube streaming today, luckily. So see, Mercury retrograde goes away, crap goes away. So it's weird. I was like actually Googling a lot the last few days about astrology and tarot and crystals. And of course you have the scientific mind. Of course this doesn't work. It works as much as praying against volcanoes and rainbows, and but it does work. It does give the answers, and I cannot explain why, but it does. So it's somebody really wants to speak, spirits or whatever, they kind of like push their little cards on, because for some reason they cannot speak to us, which would be much easier that I see and I hear the sentences instead of like seeing the images. So Scorpio, you have this King of Swords. You just had a King of Swords in the door number 3. There is like some kind of cruelty in your life. It's cruelty that is making you very sad. But because when people are cruel to you and you're a very specific sign in that respect, it almost helps you resurrect yourself, because you go from that Scorpion to Phoenix, right? You raise from the ashes. You say, man, don't know more. You kind of like when you see the person who they really are, you're gone. You can be with this person 50 years and then you're gone. Look, and then you're getting your card, the Judgment. I think you're fed up with something or somebody. Maybe you have been on a trajectory of going towards certain goals. The goal could be a relationship, goal could be work. But there was like something that happened over here where somebody let you down when you truly needed them, when you truly hoped for certain things to really work out. You might be dealing with an air sign, you might be dealing with a water sign. That was in the past, because you see the Judgment card is really interesting card, and that's why I'm calling this as my karma card. In the regular deck, we are going to see this, people actually seeing it here as well, kind of like raising above, right? Is the angel calling them, and this is corresponding to Pluto, right? So this is really talking about when you do lots of these things, you know, that pay it forward, and you're paying it forward and things are doing this injustice to you, keep going. And with Aquarians, please go back to Aquarius and see what I said for Justice card, because these two cards are very similar in flavor. And then you take Justice in your hands, you just want things to work your way, and you're a fixed sign, so you're naturally controlling just like the rest of us fixed signs. But when you let go, when you say, okay, let's be the universal wish, let's be God's wish, whatever it is, I honor it, kind of a thing, you're humble about that, then the healing takes place. Then you get in a situation like this where you actually get rewarded, right? This means that you are at a crux for kind of like reaching a new life. You, at this stage, you need to purge things that kind of like would hinder you from being renewed. There is like this renewal, guys. You're not Scorpion anymore. You are that Phoenix. There's this Phoenix, this gorgeous, beautiful Phoenix that is raising above the ashes, right? And it's kind of like also feeling freedom from the burdens. Somebody really was prickly. I mean, King of Swords could be air sign, but it doesn't have to be air sign, right? It could be just a person. Cruelty and psychopathy and narcissism runs in all basically elements. But air signs have, yeah, that harsh edge, so that's why it's more noticeable with air signs, right? And crap that can come out of our mouths is unfortunate, right? But it is what it is, right? Phoenix S song. Oh my gosh, is that that's an Australian band, isn't it? Phoenix S, I think. So let's see over here what I see with Scorpio. So now the rest of the readings are going to be faster because this is a top tier. Yeah, melody. Like, did you guys just go from situations where you maybe have been dealing with some kind of sickness? Or this can also talk about emotional healing and depression and talking. Conversations can talk about talking to people who you feel comfortable with, who you feel close with, right? And I really think it's wow, this is good. It's really think you have been building some kind of network. You have been, you know, this yarn gets all tangled up. Like there is like this beautiful card in this deck I'm going to show you. It really shows the card. I think it's called Judgment or something in this particular deck. I'll try to find it when I talk. And when this yarn gets all tangled up, sometimes you just give up. Sometimes it's just like not worth it. You just say, well, you know, in my language, there is like a saying that what one fool tangles up, 100, you know, smart people cannot untangle it. Meaning, you know, sometimes some things are just beyond repair, and I really think that's what you are dealing with. And it's also called consequences, and that's exactly what it is. Certain things got really tricky in your life. Certain things got difficult to deal with, and I really think that you're cleansing your life. You have been probably going through lots of emotions, like from, you see, these are almost like two sides of the same coin. One is like when we are actively angry, when we do something in haste. Another one is like, I just cannot give up. I just want to sleep through, kind of a thing, right? So I really think that there is somebody who could have been helping you, or you need to enlist the help from somebody. Therapist, Reiki master, energy sessions, or you have been doing that. And I really feel that these negative feelings that you as a Scorpio get triggered with jealousy, and you're resolving that, you're letting go of that, you're like moving in the space where, look at this, all these people are almost like sharing advice in the situation, but you're moving in a space where people you have around you are constructive, are productive, and they want the good things for you, and they want to help you, and you feel accepted. You're going to also maybe meet new, maybe you can start a new hobby, you might meet new people, and it's kind of like this new phase. It's really new phase. Just think about it, that what is holding you back to your past lives is what you have on the shelves in your home, that everything else can be completely new. So it is really up to you if you're going to move in this new direction. So the next one, guys, and again, it is one of the signs that have been like far back, and it's no longer back, and I think Barbie is going to be very happy. There is Libra that is coming next, and after Libra we're going to have Virgo, and then we are going to have Pisces. So that way we kind of like are heading this way. So Libra, let's see what is in the store for you. Libra. Yes, I know. Isn't Frankie Goes to Hollywood also kind of like, I think it's German band, but I think they did lots of recording in Australia as well. There is like Kylie, Australian doctor that I watched. His name is David Sinclair. I think everybody on this live should Google. It was on Joe Rogan podcast, and this guy is coming up with a breakthrough in medicine, something that we all want, how to live up to 150 and be vital and be gentle. He has some really, he dished out recommendations which ingredients to take, and it's apparently working. It's working on him, it's working on his father, and the people who are taking those supplements are reporting like their organs got better, they're looking younger, they're feeling younger. So this is really cool. So Libra. My ascendant. Oh, somebody said Libra. That's what they said. Oh, you hate Libras. You have something against Libras. This is like, I cannot tell you how even silly this is, that I really don't hate people. And even if I do hate them, then I would approach the reading with, okay, so how can I send peace and happiness to this person? It's just like I read what basically spirits send me, like what comes through. It's just like, what? Do you want me to talk about this card if somebody's coming to you and bringing flowers? When it shows something else, people are just... It's just sometimes I wonder, how can somebody be a grown-up person and say something stupid like that? So Seven of Swords is reversed, which is good. And Page of Swords is reversed. So Libra, you have a Page of Pentacles. There is like some immaturity kicking over here. Maybe you have been dealing with immature people over here. And Page of Swords tells me that you probably spent quite a bit of time on the internet. Maybe you were researching other people, maybe you're peeking at somebody's, social media stuff, kind of like wondering what they're going to say next. Maybe you just simply have been irritable, maybe you have been annoyed. Maybe people annoyed you. I mean, Tiger annoyed me. I'm sorry to admit, but he's always under my feet. So one of the things that I had to train him is he sleeps in his bed, and he doesn't sleep because literally always, whenever I want to move, he's where he's not supposed to be. But kind of like I had to deal with my own irritability. And here it's like really talking about you actually are having some kind of like resolution. Seven of Swords reversed is really good card. It's really talking that somebody who slighted you, somebody who did stuff to you is like, no, maybe taking responsibility for their crap. And to me, this is usually I'm sorry card when it's reversed. And to me, this is usually aha moment. Sometimes people don't give you apology, but you totally know why they did it. You kind of like really understand where they come from, and there's like this paradigm shift when it happens, and all of a sudden, whew, just like in the movies, you see like things turning around and say, oh my god, I have blamed this person, and this person stole from me, because they have been stolen from them the whole their life. They don't know any better, and they just couldn't react any other way. So it's kind of like almost like the kindness and empathy that kind of comes through. So at the same time, you know, while you kind of have certain sense of relief and you're coming to some kind of like natural train of thought that is coming to the end, this kind of like Page of Pentacles kind of like worries me a little bit, because pages are very, very slow, and this kind of like is telling me that this one you have to work on reversing, really, because this is also some kind of frustration. It also could be some kind of like resentment. So make sure that you don't come across, it's kind of like weird. I really think because you're Libra, right? Your sign number 11, sorry, you are sign represented with the card number 11. So you're very similar with Aquarius in that respect, in tarot, right? When you compare tarot and astrology. So the very same thing that happened to you, now you might be doing to somebody else. See? That's kind of how karma works. Like when I do my karma reading and people say, oh, why he did it to me, why she did it to me, and then in karma reading, especially in the past life readings, then you see like you have been maybe a villain in the last life, and you are coming here to make it amends, and then sort of like they equal that stage, and then you're saying, okay, well, this is what it is, right? Because this Page of Pentacles can actually talk about immaturity, right? Page of Pentacles in this kind of like side can talk about somebody is really didn't study what they need to know. They're maybe not having enough resources up there to kind of like do it. But this also can be like some, as I said, frustration that is coming through. So do not, you have to work on it yourself. Let me put it this way. You guys are an air sign. I can talk to you like really straightforward. No need to kind of like wrap things around. You need to kind of like fix your own act at this particular week. So if something irritates you, make sure that you eat properly. Make sure that you spend time in the air, in the fresh air, that you get enough oxygen. Taking a D3 vitamin always helps with the mood, right? And overall, just stay away from news and bad people. That is clearly going to help. And that's my new kind of like recipe for myself, staying away from CNN, MSNBC, and I'm starting to feel better, I really have to say. So look at this, falseness. Why do they have to show kitty as a falseness? Kitties are never false. Sure, they go to people because they want their massage. They want to go to everybody to get their petting. But gee, you know if the cat likes you, if they don't like you. That's for sure. Falseness, and then we have haughtiness reversed. So there is like a huge pride. Make sure your ego doesn't come in the way, because I can see this ego. Libra, things are not going to go your way this week. This week you have a challenge. Look at this. These gypsy cards are really confirming everything over here. Well, falseness, we don't really have to go in too many details, right? Explaining this, right? It's really talking about, you know, betrayal or deception, which is kind of like what we have seen in this card, right? As I said, you are now like, revealing something that somebody was not sincere, and now you know why. Now you know why certain things couldn't last. Now you know that, hey, you know what? If I buy this like stuff from a dollar store, this is not going to last me forever. It's kind of like, hello, like kind of like telling yourself, come on, I should have known that, right? All the glitters is not gold, kind of a thing, right? And you are like the sign that weighs things. So weigh your options kind of carefully, right? Because mistakes could have been costly, but now this is not giving you, telling you that you can be a diva, right? Like you're not supposed to be diva just because somebody wronged you, right? So the haughtiness, I remember once, it was somebody who really pissed me off. So I said, let's do this like online reading and see what this person is all about. And this card came through, right? but it's kind of like really can talk about, you know, somebody's awareness of somebody's limitations, right? Maybe, you know, it's about the pride. But I really think that maybe some of you are thinking about the past relationships. Some of you even want to restore relationships, or even want to improve these relationships with colleagues and friends. So don't do it with the wrong people, because you might be actually be simply in a wrong crowd where people like to gossip, where people like to point finger at somebody, and then the moment when the person approaches, hi, how are you, then you know there should be a clue they are doing the same way to you. So do not participate, and very soon the gossip will kind of like fade away, right? So this indicates that past behavior is being resolved. I can clearly see that. And then yet this new behavior, this wedding card, is really weird in this particular deck, because it shows the church, it shows the, let's say, Pope or somebody, and a couple over here, but it's reversed. So something, it's not gluing, something is not uniting, right? It could be something impossible love, unrequited love, canceled wedding, broken engagement, somebody's dragging their feet on some kind of decisions, and maybe that's why you're getting irritable, say, come on, my clock is ticking, you need to do that kind of like stuff. But this can also tell me that maybe you or somebody else is accepting to, you know, accept the truth that, you know, if you're irritable with somebody, or somebody's irritable with you, then hello, you need to resolve and remove the kind of like source of irritability. And most of us want irritability to stop, especially if you're an adrenal type like me. Slow people who take forever to do something would really get on your nerves, kind of a thing, right? Like standing in the traffic, right? That's where your choleric personality can come through. So you really need to work within yourself. And most of us think, oh, if just people move, if I have like highway just for myself, or if I just live alone on this planet and all these people don't say such stupid things, I'll be just fine. Yeah, but that's not what's going to happen. So we have the option plan number 2, and plan number 2 is like how to deal with that. So how to deal with that is, okay, so let's not get agitated and aggravated, because it's going to affect us. So this, it just came to me, it can talk about clandestine relationships, a love story, sort of like possibly without rhyme or reason, a love story that leads nowhere, something that is slowly probably getting under your skin. And Libra, sorry to say, you kind of like tend to get involved into this, because most people don't understand, you come across to other people as a water sign, because you're gentler in appearance, at least, as, you know, us, the rest of the air signs. But you can be brutal, and you can be really brutal if somebody betrays you. So that's why you're represented with the Justice card. So Libra, just don't do to others what you don't want to have it done to yourself. And be watchful this week, because karma is testing you over here. So no swords this week, Kylie. I know I have a few meetings this week, and I think that I have to bury my sword really, really deep down, that even if I attempt to take it out, I cannot dig it out. So it's going to be, I heard it. So the next one is Virgo. After Virgo, we are going to go to Pisces. So, Virgos, let's see. Well, Kylie, I did say like clearing your auras is about this grounding stuff, which kind of like the haunted stuff and all this stuff, especially when I'm doing this job. That was my problem. I had lots of spirits adhering to me, probably begging me to help, and took like a ridiculous amount of effort, and dealing with all this kind of stuff was really difficult. So from time to time, we really need to cleanse it. Look, Barbie, you see, that's Libras. Libras don't get ticked off. Like, I mean, Libras would say, okay, yeah, sure, I'm taking this, right? But if I said the same thing with the same tone to, let's say, Pisces, it's like, oh, I feel really bad. So, like, I have to kind of like be a little bit of, you know, shapeshifter to kind of like do that. So Virgos, let's see, Virgo. You have Six of Wands, but then you have a Knight of Swords. Are you guys fighting a battle that you really don't want to win? Or after you win, that people turn against you? It almost like sounds to me that somebody got a new job, and now like all of a sudden, instead of like enjoying it, other people are really resenting you. It's like a horrible situation, right? Like, I mean, when people are so freaking dishonest about it. Six of Wands is clearly that victory. It's like clearly opening the gate of some kind of like victory. You guys are moving into a new stage or something, but immediately you're feeling attacked. Immediately. And almost like, that's what I said, it's somebody getting a new job, because it's going to feel, you maybe don't know this, but there's like person who will still be working with you who wanted a job and they didn't get it, and hence they're going to be your enemy, even though you have done nothing wrong to them. You're just simply more chosen. You have been chosen for the position, but they will be undermining you. They'll be using things and people against you over here, and it can come as a shock. And that's what we see this in the Knight of Swords. And this dude doesn't play with a full deck, especially if he's reversed. He just looks for any opportunities, like sort of like it's opportunity taker. So if they see, I don't know, let's say somebody leaving a porn magazine somewhere in the lobby, they're going to bring it and drop it on your desk because you're in the lunch hour. It's going to look like you're a pervert. That's kind of like a creep that you're dealing with here, right? It could be somebody who is air sign or fire sign, that kind of like you're dealing with, but at the same time, this person is really easy to beat. And you guys are the sign who is like very consistent. You kind of like grounding yourself and looking in his direction, because after all, you're getting here Magician to kind of boot. And Magician is saying, look, you don't really have to even look for somebody's help. You don't have to speak to this person and what's your problem, dude. This person wants your position. If this is in a love life, you might have a rival, somebody who is going to say, oh, look at him, he's like not rich enough and he's not handsome, or you can do so much better, or look at her, she's overweight, and blah blah blah. It's just like friend, somebody who just doesn't want certain good things to happen for you, right? But then the Magician shows up, and that represents Mercury, and Mercury is now basically going forward. So this connects basically the spirit to the physical. This is as above, so below energy. This is the master of all four elements. Keep in mind, after coming to this planet, the god, the Fool, is coming to a Magician and says, tell me how things work around here. And the Magician shows him. He says, I have earth, I have air, I have fire, and I have water. And I'm going to tell you how you can pull this tool, just like this is Harry Potter energy. How do you pull this tool and turn your desires into reality? So you are going to, guys, focus on creativity, on skill and focus, and you're going to say, you know what, I have won. And I know why I'm there. There is a reason why I'm there. So it's going to be that skill and confidence and action and the sense of accomplishment. You guys have everything that you need to have. So don't let this pissy person to get in your way. That's kind of like what I have to say about this. And you know what? The people who play with swords kind of like play with a sword, die by a sword kind of a thing. But if you start engaging with them, the people all of a sudden don't know which side to pick. So do not, that you need to transform it. So it's almost like, looks like you're moving in the next phase, in the next stage. In the next stage, you're not anymore, oh hey, everybody's celebrating, you won this job, or you're in this relationship, you got engaged. Now you have to defend your fort. Now other people are jealous of your happiness. Other people want you to kind of deal with things or fall flat on your face. We live in strange times. If people think that wishing you ill is somehow making them feel better, in fact is making them sink more and more and more and more they need to try to kind of take you down. It's the lobster effect. You know, you put two lobsters in the bucket, they will never leave, because the other one is going to just take you down, or more than that. It's just like really amazing. But then you're getting this consolidation. It's kind of like almost consolation. It's showing a person who is sitting in front of this gorgeous window, and we see this boat flowing in the background, right? And he appears to be, I don't know, reading a paper, reading a book, right? And the angel appears, and the angel is giving him everything. Do you want money? Do you want power? What do you want? So see the power. You can do anything over here. That kind of like would be like magician card, right? So that really tell me that the page has started. Again, you guys winning. Like, I mean, the relationships are sort of like enriched. Maybe this can talk about new love over here. You can feel like that you got to that point where you feel really comfortable with the strength that you have, that you actually can embark in a new relationship, right? But as far as work, you know what? By you being a better person, by you kind of like looking up and with this optimism and confidence, it's going to show that you are a person of some initiative, and it's going to show you as very kind of like rewarding. I think some of you may have or might have feel stressed or depressed because of this dude. I think strongly I feel it's a man, but it could be a woman. Women can be very kind of bad with their tongues when it comes to talking, right? So I would just say if this happens, just you will remember Kat told me so, and I'm not engaging because any negativity is going to drag me down, and any positivity is going to take me out, and I'm going to win with positivity, right? So it is very important to understand that there is a very pleasant surprise coming for you. Excuse me. It's going to be way above your expectations, right? So it could be, I don't know, like, I mean, gift, or being honored, or I don't know, a meeting or event that is going to show this new opportunity, and you will see just like doors opening for you. What you really need to know is, well, here you really worked for what you earned, and you can pat yourself on the shoulder. This is from paid forward. Something is just given to you just because you have been good in the past. So karma is saying, it's like a wheel of fortune, right? Karma is saying, sure, you get it now. You have been good, and you have been done good. You have done good deeds, and I am rewarding you because of that. So that was Virgo, right? So now I really have to watch my tone when I go into my sweet Pisces. Don't you like this kitty cat's shadow here in the background? I thought that's like awesome. Like, I was so freaking genius. Just like I was fixing my car last week when I went to visit my dad, and he doesn't have a problem resolution anymore, since, you know, his brain is affected, and it's like the central console that just got stuck. So there were 3 screws over there that I managed to find, which is really well hidden in my car. And then he really wanted to get a screw that you couldn't get to. I said to him, like, because I have a German car, I said, it's German engineering. They would not come up with something stupid like that. I can guarantee you that. Let's kind of like go with the middle one. No. So I usually let him kind of like fiddle with stuff, even though recently I'm supervising him because he destroys things. So finally he let go of that, and he wanted to fix my tire, which he emptied it in the end. And so I did go and unscrew the middle screw, and the whole thing just kind of like opened up. I found my Swiss Army knife that fell in a drawer, so now I could close the drawer, and it was fixed. So I was like declaring, I'm a genius. He was just laughing at me. He said, I'm glad to see you are in a good mood, kind of a thing. So Pisces, what do we have here for you? We have 8 of Swords. We have big reading. We have King of Cups. This could be you. We have 4 of Cups reversed. We have 9 of Cups. Oh boy. We have 6 of Wands. We have the Tower. We have 5 of Swords, and we have Ace of Pentacles. So clearly going through some kind of ordeal. Maybe you are hoping for somebody to call you, to come back to you. There were lots of promises. King of Cups reversed. I hate them most. Absolutely hate the most, because this is the dude who is going to give you a big hug, who's going to say, yes, you are the one, and yes, I'm going to move mountains for you. He's going to restore the faith in humanity with his actions, just to be let down minutes later. And this is why I hate this person. And then would just look at you plainly and said, it was just a dream. And for you especially, it will be a big letdown for us air signs, because we hate dishonesty. But for you, it's emotional betrayal. It also could be that you're dealing with somebody who have forgotten to tell you they're married, and they have been concocting a whole bunch of lies why they cannot do certain things. They cannot see you on the weekend. I cannot be with you because she's so bad, she's making me, or he's so bad. Lies, 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 Pisces. Sorry, lies. This person is having the agenda of in the moment agenda, that in the moment agenda, he or she just wants to make themselves feel good. They really don't care about you at this particular moment. And in fact, this person doesn't even have any, I would say, remorse, right? They bring this unneeded suffering, right? Like they probably would accomplish to sleep with somebody, to be with somebody, to get these emotional things from somebody, even if they're fully honest. You have completely stupid people. You'll tell some person, I hate you, and they'll say, no, you don't, you love me. Well, you heard it. If you don't want to hear it, it's up to you. But this person goes out of their way to do something that is going to be hurtful and harmful, and they kind of like abuse your kind of like good good nature, right? This is also somebody very moody, but it could be somebody who could be let's say taking advantage of you monetarily as well, I would say. But also then we have like this Four of Cups, and with Four of Cups, this dude is really not seeing that there's like something really special happening. It's almost like, actually in this particular deck, pardon me, he does see that, right? Because this really talks about inexperience. Maybe unfortunately you are getting understanding of that some people are like that, and I'm getting here a flavor that there is like some feeling of being stuck in the situation. Somebody's being stuck and cannot get out. Like she is blindfolded, he is sort of like that way as well. And then we have like this Nine of Cups reversed to boot, where somebody is really into what I can get out of this situation over here. And maybe, you know, maybe you have unrealistic expectations, and this is now meeting a guy, so you know how it is. Unrealistic expectations, meet somebody who is promising you the world. What can go wrong, right? Then you cannot really necessarily be mad when you're being delivered. It's almost like waiting for that Hollywood ending. And I really think, Pisces, it is going to be awakening for you. That's why you have the Tower. The Tower reverse shows up when people just don't want to see. And I find it's very difficult when it's reversed, because when it's upright, it's kind of like something happens that it shocks you, that shakes you up, that you go, oh, whoa. And it's really kind of like a unnerving experience. Here you really don't go through that experience. Nothing really comes and say, you have to stop, or else you're going to get a ticket or something like that. No. You're driving like, 120 in the zone of 20. No. You know you shouldn't be, but you still kind of keep doing it. That's why when Tower reverses, I'm finding it really difficult to talk to people, because I'm dealing here with denial. I'm dealing with like somebody avoiding issues. You don't want to open the bill because you don't want to know how much you owe. Well, how is this really working for you when your credit rating starts going down and down and down, right? So this is like being in some kind of like fear and reluctance. And you shouldn't be. You are actually the person who does have the power, and the other person knows it. But they are going to represent themselves in a way that you think they don't. So they are salesmen over here. So you will really need to take this Five of Swords in your hands. You will need to, this is actually a set card. Sometimes they say you need to win, even though, you see, it's really hard for you to do anything to this person because you feel sorry for them. They gave you a story, and that story is like how sad their life is, how, you know, they have been given everything, but these are all lies. When you get it that they're lies, you're just going to cut them off, and you're just going to let them whimper, going to let them be in the past. You're going to actually learn how to be a sword, guys. And that sword, the very sword he or she played with, is going to cost them. And guess what? After doing that, there is Ace of Pentacles. There is like this, poof, I'm feeling better. There is like something long term. I want to do long term. This also could mean with the same person going to say, no more Jose, no more crap Jose, you are not going to do that to me anymore. We have to talk, we have to do it differently. And you see this line, this is line in sand. You cross it, you're on the other side of the door, and don't kind of like, you know, good riddance kind of a thing. They will know you're very serious. And guys, if you ever think that Pisces are very sweet, try to piss them off. This person is pissing you off. So that's kind of like a thing that I see here. So let's see, the cards jump out. You see, that's the guy. You're feeling sorry for this person. You're feeling sorry for the person who is not giving you respect. Well, now we are talking about you, Pisces. Why are you doing that? First of all, this person needs to have and work on their own issues, right? So it's somebody who is immature, who is confused about love, who kind of like is questioning his feelings, right? And it could simply kind of like indicate also sometimes bad person, but I really think this is clearly telling me that you will be removing like that veil, like, you know, you're blinded to certain truths. So this is now the time to remove it, and either you're going to remove this person or you're going to issue an ultimatum. If they're going to stay, I don't know. But clearly I see that you are moving forward in a very positive direction, and the positive direction is going to take you where you really want to go. So it's kind of like pretty cool about that. Have you noticed that my readings are getting longer and longer on Saturday? I was thinking I can do it in an hour, and then I just looked at the clock. It's 1:01. So I'm glad that signs are getting what they want to get. So sorry, Pisces, I was not so overly gentle with you, but I really think you are going to get a little bit in the sword stage. And the last two signs are Aries, and after Aries we are going to read Taurus. You guys need to start clicking Aries and Tauruses. Click, 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 because your monthly reading is in jeopardy, right? So let's go with Aries. Aries, 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 Aries. I would like to tell a story about my brother, but I don't know if he's going to listen to this, and then I'll get in shit for this. So let me first see what kind of cards they get for this week before I do that. Oops, let me just go to my live screen so I can interact with you. There we go. Oh, hi, Eden. I haven't seen you in a while. Aries, 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 Aries. Creative guru, you nailed it. That's exactly. You sometimes hear these people, you know, when people win lottery and all of these people come to them with those sad stories. I am a major sucker for that crap, especially when somebody's abusing animals and you see them on the internet. Oh, I saved this animal from death, etc. Look, my matrix was saved from the same thing. He had this like massive mites and he would go blind if I didn't take him to the vet. That I don't think myself as, I don't know, great kind of like saver of this freaking cat, right? It was just something that you must do. And like just these stories are sometimes honestly getting on my nerves. And when people put that, and yet I'm thinking how sweet and how nice this is, and I cannot help myself. I'm really extremely naive that way. So I have to pinch myself. So Seven of Swords reversed, 3 of 1 reversed, and King of Swords. And we are talking about Aries. So no, I'm not telling a story because my brother would be really, really pissed off. So, Oops. Okay. It didn't fall, and it was empty, so I couldn't spill my coffee. Well, Seven of Swords is actually not a bad card when it's reversed. When it's reversed, is like my aha moment. It's kind of like maybe you feel that somebody has taken your peace, somebody has taken, issues, but at the same time you do understand how things happen or why things happen, right? That's why, like in my meditation, this came as aha moment. It's just like kind of the complete clarity. Oh, that's why they did it, right? I mean, I sometimes see in a therapy as a breakthrough, like people 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, they sit and talk and talk and talk, and why this and why this. And then one day, in that one moment, things happen. But you see, they have been layering and layering and layering and layering and layering, and then finally you're feeling strong that this can kind of like revolve and this can happen, right? Because this is the card where all of a sudden you take full responsibility. It's not anymore that you're being a victim. Being a victim is a bad thing. When things happen to you that you didn't plan, you didn't want, we all sympathize with the victim. But you have to start taking yourself out from that victimhood stage, right? Which this card is talking about, this responsibility and acceptance of the situation. And also, it's going even further, that you're challenging yourself with new commitments and you're saying, no, I can do it. I will not let you take me down. It could have been something that is connecting to your friend, to your associate, because Three of Wands is this proverbial card of ships. And that means partnerships, relationships, friendships. It is reversed. Maybe you had a friend or partner, somebody who let you down. Maybe, it was like a sword fight kind of a thing. And maybe you have decided that after all, you're not going to sail to the sunset together, right? Because like Three of Wands is kind of like talking about that, right? So Three of Wands, if it's upright, it's kind of like talking about the beginning, where when it reverses can talk about obstructions and delays and disappointment and risks. So clearly tells me that you are coming into this week with a sense of disappointment, but also with a sense of clarity. And clarity is usually obtained by either you facing a similar situation, or, and this could be here as well that I see, or simply by, it's just like there's like this phase when you relax, when you meditate, and it just happens to jump at you. Oh my gosh, this is what happened. And that's where the shift really happens, because you're having King of Swords over here after all. There is like the sense of fairness. Maybe you have been going through a difficult situation in your relationship, with your friendships, or at work. I mean, this all can actually identify that. And the situation is being resolved this week, and it's resolved with, flying colors, because as well as you can tell that I don't like these faces reversed, when this king is up, this is the best king to get when it comes to fairness and resolution, right? So this is the king who is going to say, okay, I have the authority to do that. Maybe it could be your boss, could be somebody who needs to speak on your behalf. Maybe it could be a judge. That's why sometimes they put them in this situation, or priest. This is somebody who has a strength, but who is also very fair. This person is so fair that they would take things away from them if they think it's unfair. So this is really, really good reading, guys. That you are kind of like raising from a bad situation, and you're getting this fairness and understanding. So also another thing, like you're sign number 1 in horoscope. In tarot, are you the sign number 1? Yes. The Emperor. No. Yeah, that's Venus. Yeah, I think the Emperor is this basically the first time that astrology kicks in. Not the planets, but a sign. But it's number 4 in tarot. So I'm pointing this out because I see 3 and 7, it's a 10. So it is that sign number 1. It's like kind of astrological kind of like shift that I see here. It's kind of like really happening over here. So something is really going to happen over here, right? So let me get your gypsy cards here as well. So it's almost like you guys are releasing some kind of burden, something that bugged you is no longer to kind of like be a problem. So let me see. Aries. Ooh, you have this misfortune. It's almost like the same thing. You have the house and you have merchant. Merchant will be just this dude over here. And the house is a really, really tricky card. I don't know. This really clearly tells me that I would not say that there are friendships that are so difficult, but I would say there are issues at work, and I would say there are issues within your own household that could be problematic. But you're going to kind of like come back on your feet. I see that as well, because merchant is pretty much, this is a merchant as well. Literally, this is the same card. And right, both of them are reversed. Like certain things that you hope that something is going to help and resolve, and something, it's just like it's exploding in your face for some reason. I do not like this card misfortune. This is like a tower card, but it's kind of worse. And this is a very negative card, but when it reverses, it's more negative. So it's kind of like talks about loss or ending, and but it's kind of like finality in it. Kind of like, put a fork in me. But there is like something that significantly can impact you. So think about the strife that you had. There was some strife over here, or kind of batting those horns together, right? Because it is like something that is going to shake you up in kind of like how to move, right? How to kind of go in the future. And that's why I like that we got this house card here in the end, right? Because this is kind of like the destruction of the tower that we see in tarot as well, and cleansing and foundations need to be built. Maybe you're thinking of yourself that you are better than somebody else, and finally you're putting this in some kind of perspective, right? Maybe you have to give yourself a chance. Maybe you have to give somebody else a chance. You need to recognize that certain things are ending and they are forever changing, and you will really need to rebuild, whether this is a relationship at work or a relationship at home. This actually can talk about theft as well. It can talk about that somebody took something from you, but it almost looks like this person. So it's not like one of those things. Or it can talk about you needing to look into your budget, kind of like a thing. Or you're dealing with a person who maybe has, let's say, mental disorder, and you cannot reason with them, and that's why the Seven of Swords reversed, and you are saying, okay, I get it now, I get it, right? Because this card here talks about also possible bad investments, right? And it's kind of like warning you that this is not the week to do it. That's what I said. But also, negotiations are not going to go anywhere. You literally have to float through this week and kind of like make sure that you're doing all of this stuff. So you're crossing all your T's and you're dotting all your I's, or the other way around, whichever you want to say it, right? It's really kind of like important to kind of like move and pace yourself up. And then we have this house card. Well, I wish I have the house like this. It's a lovely house, right? But this is, to me, talking about independence, and that's what the King of Swords is. That's what your sign is, about independence. It is about family emotional bonds, right? It's about security, right? It's possibly a protection of some kind of like sword. I would say this is now all of a sudden talking about the stabilization. Maybe because this is telling me that you're probably entering this week, that from the previous week, that you had some kind of like sense of instability, right? And this is serenity, kind of like a thing. Kind of like the essence of the problem is now addressed, and it kind of like feels good. You have sweet relationships. You feel like, okay, yes, it's kind of happy ending. This has been resolved. So it's economic stability from all this kind of turbulence. I don't know, is this going to be the stock market that is going down, because you guys, for some extent, rule the stock market as well. But, you know, I really think that this is also talking about health, where, you know, you kind of have your restored strength, and you're relaxed, and kind of like you're free of stress. And when this happens, then this kind of like harsh edge that Arians usually have. I mean, you're first sign because you have to be fast, and to be fast, you know, you crash the door down and it's a whole bunch of chips. Then the other signs have to come and smooth it over and do the stuff. So this is not your role to do that. But sometimes it's much easier if you can just unscrew the hinges and kind of like take the door in that way. And that's when you're at the best. That's when you're ready to move to the next sign, Taurus, and look for that stability that you don't want, kind of this distraction. So I really feel this is kind of like one of those weeks, because this card is actually Two of Cups card, and it's Two of Hearts card, right? Which kind of like talks about real estate and feeling good with where you are. But it's kind of like domestic environment and feeling kind of like, hey, these things can work out, and kind of contracts can work out. So Aries, less arguments, more cooperation. That's going to get you very, very far this week. Let me see my talkers. Creative guru. Letting them have the consequences. Yes, you're getting out of the way of their karma. Like, I see so many people, myself included, sometimes absorbing other people's karma, and then you're scratching your head and wondering what the hell is going on. And the last sign is Taurus. Are you the slowest one? Why the heck are you the last? What's going on, Taurus? Why are you the last? Taurus, you will need to do lots of clicking. Lots and lots and lots of clicking. So, okay, let me just go back to my live chat. And what? It's not pulling it up? It's so confusing when I have to go from one to another. Oh, look at this Taurus. I like this Barbie. Like, where the heck you find these pretty icons? You're the queen of icons. Okay, Taurus. Do we have any Taurus in the house? Anybody with Taurus significant in something? Come on, guys. Zelma. What's her name? There we go. We have Taurus in the house. Taurus. Does that mean Taurus as well? Taurus? Well, we have 10 of Wands. Whoa. We have Taurus, you're last, but you're saying you're not going to cut us off. We want a good reading. Oh. Taurus, you're dealing with some kind of like financial thinking this week. This is really confusing. You're getting both 9 of Pentacles and 5 of Pentacles, but let's see where this leads me. You have a 10 of Wands. There are some burdens in your life, clearly. This is adding to master number of 22, and 22 always relates to Taurus. So this is going to be a very, very important week, guys. I really have to tell you. There will be two contrary things that will be happening, and you will feel that you have to choose one or the other. But that's not a solution. Actually, the solution is how to merge them, and it's going to look like an impossible task for you. This 10 of Wands is really talking about burdens and things that we carry through life, and things that kind of like send off really weird messages. Like, you're questioning people around you. You're questioning everything that is happening. But this can actually also talk about injuries, because 22 master number is really talking about master builder. It's something that is really hard for you to build if you don't preserve your own health. Be very careful that you are looking into your diet, and that you're being very careful with lifting things this particular week. Or maybe some of you have back problems, right? Like, I mean, when we have tens, for example, when we have tens of swords has this like very strong message about betrayal, right? But because wands are sort of like the energy below swords, and many would disagree with me, many would say that wands are higher, but I know that fire cannot go in the stratosphere, so the air is always above it. So that's where my scientific mind kicked in. So I really think this is kind of like talking about that stress. and oppression. You really want to get somewhere. You really want to accomplish something. And I can see that from the Chariot. Chariot is like this. Hey, you know what? It's again merging of these two different energies that have to be pulled in the proper direction to kind of like go forward. This can also sometimes represent Cancer, right? You see, the Chariot represents willpower. It's representing the determination and that self-assurance, kind of like, hey, I can win any challenge kind of a thing, right? This is really talking about set a goal and go there. And Taurus is usually really good at it. Like, I mean, you do that, right? You like to win, and you understand that sometimes it takes time to get yourself in that situation, right? I really think that you are motivated to do something, and there is like something about I would say perceived emotional security, because you're getting this Nine of Pentacles, right? Nine of Pentacles is ultimately a card where you want to be left alone and deal with yourself and enjoy your sweet luxuries. Maybe you're going to treat yourself with something. Maybe you kind of like wonder how to get there, what to do, but now it could be almost like reward. It could be some kind of like appreciation. That's why it's kind of like tough for me to see why this Five of Pentacles came through it, because that talks about isolation. So why is it that you are not taking advantage of? Is it that you don't want to share this with somebody? Because this talks about poor health, and that's why I told you about the health issues. It also can talk about poverty. This one is quite contrary to the poverty. This is one is like saying, I'm feeling really good where I am. So maybe you're going to overspend and regret it, and you're wondering, oh my God, have I done it the right thing? You will be really questioning yourself in the situation. But you clearly have this idea. So when you're having this idea, when you kind of like want to go somewhere, maybe you have other things. Maybe that's what happened. You forgot that you have other things that you have to deal with. It's kind of like this card stands out to me with this one. It's telling me that you really don't want to be, relationships are, let's put it this way, relationships are not going to be highlight. Or if you're single, you don't want to be in a relationship at this stage. You kind of like almost like find them being a burden, unless there is like just a chosen person. Because even in this card, it really talks about being let down and cash strapped. Like, these people still have each other. They're like still this beautiful emotional component over here in this card. And look at this. I don't have all the riches in the world, but we have a child, and like we have like this humility that he's displaying toward her. But this also could be some kind of like generosity expectation, because in the next stage, in the 6, we see this generosity. So I actually really want to get gypsy cards here to see these things. So it could simply mean that you're regretting some purchase made, or that somebody could be a drain on your resources, or that you will ask somebody to help you and they will turn you down. It could be one of those things. And you've got a few cards here. You have thought and you have wedding. Well, this thought card is, I guess, self-explanatory. It's again showing this a solo dude over here, right? He kind of like almost like has this Roman or Greek toga over here. It is looking sitting, right? And kind of like his head is saying, well, I have so many thoughts, I have to lean on my, I always find weird when people kind of lean with their head in a face, with a face in a hand, and kind of like, oh, it's so heavy, right? But what is really important to me is, look at that table of his, right? It's kind of like a brazier with kind of like burning herbs, and it's a skull, and it's an hourglass. So all of a sudden I think you're getting that kind of like different feeling, right? So I guess he's meditating, except that he's holding that scroll over here, manuscript, in one hand, and he has this diploma on his table, right? So there is like a need for thought or reflection or consideration. I really think there's some kind of like inner struggles that are happening for you this week, and you really need to think, right? and that's maybe why this could be two outcomes. Simply, maybe that's what it means. You need to think through decisions that you really want to make, right? I think that could be a little bit kind of like a difficult process, because I think you'll be getting lots of conflicting information. Should I go forward? Should I just drop it? Should I stay it? Kind of like that kind of like stuff. It can kind of like refer to a person who kind of like takes time to reflect before kind of like giving you this decision, kind of like, or insight, right? So that can be simply thinking how to proceed with a relationship. For example, you know, are you considering to move friendship to love, or any kind of like special kind of like thoughts that that situation would require, right? If this is a work question or investment question, it could really mean that you will need new strategy to kind of like beat competition, etc., like that, right? So it is very important. So kind of like thinking will be really needed, but when you are done, you clearly can just jump through the hoops and go there. Still, this wedding card reverse is a little bit worrisome card, right? Because here is the, to me, this is always card of a contract, and this is a card of the contract of stuff. But you know, this is saying that you actually, more than anything else, decide which things you don't want to do in order not to kind of like end in this situation, right? Because this can talk about that something dies. This can talk about that love dies, person dies, car dies, right? Marriage dies, you know, broken engagement kind of a thing. There is like something that is dissolving, and that's the kind of self-sufficiency, guys, that you really want to have here. Like as I said, I don't know which sign had it. This can actually really talk about that secret romance that is really happening, right? And it can also talk about that you don't really want to be in a situations where you're just not sure where this is going. You really want to know how to get to your end goal, because that's what the Chariot card is. So maybe if maybe you're going to really feel stuck. You're going to feel stuck between should I stay and should I go, and how do I deal with things. That's kind of like going to be flavor of the week, because I clearly see that you really want to establish yourself. And I think maybe this also talks about some of you deciding to leave the relationship, because that's a solo thing. But maybe some of you are thinking, well, I don't know if I can do it, because financially I don't know if you can pull it forward. So that's going to be a lots of kind of like thoughts like coming on your mind. And I understand, you see, this is a paradigm shift. I'm saying, Taurus, you didn't click, you have to click, but I can see what you're dealing with. And by dealing with, I guess clicking is possible the last thing you have on your mind. But if you're here, if you're listening, you know, then I really think this is really what is really important over here. So you see, Zelma, that's what happened. Kind of like things are like in in your head, you just like thought this is just not workable. I just don't see us going to the same goals, etc. And I'm sad that I'm leaving this, you know, dailies, weeklies, pardon me, on a kind of like a sad note like this with Taurus. But you know, this too shall pass, guys. What can I say? What can I say? So thank you everybody for being here. 2.5 hours. I have to learn how to be faster and not to get on your nerves entirely. I appreciate if you guys stamp and help that way. So I mean, we have this major things, how things kind of like revolved, and I'm going to probably finish all the X series by Monday, and they're going to be all published, because I don't like to publish things over the weekend when people have live and then kind of like miss it. And then as soon as I publish it, I'm going to start immediately work on monthlies, and we are going to start with that. And Leo is the first, Cancer is the second, and Gemini is the third. So guys, in order to change the rest of the order, you have to start clicking. So thank you everybody for being here. It is a great honor to spend my morning coffee with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. So hopefully there'll be no technical difficulties for a while. I honestly suffer greatly during the Mercury retrograde. Thank you so much. I'm going to play the musica so we can still say how to stamp is you is actually really stamper unless she wants to she sometimes like just can use the help as well. So if you guys go when the this video uploads and it's going to take another 15 minutes and see where is a certain sign, then you put a timestamp and you just put it in the comments and that's all. Then Barbie can scoop it and just put it on. So messages for the room, yes, messages for the room. So let me get my deck for that. Yeah, let me get a different deck for this and do this. And that's a probably good way to kind of like end on a positive note. Kind of always make them smile. So I'm going to grab a card from this amazing book, The Enchanted Map, which I love. So let's do this. And I think something flicked, didn't it? Or it did. Oh, it did. Sacred Pool. Oh, look at this. We have 47. We have 11. And I'm going to read that one for you because it's so well put in this particular deck. And I really like this card. Do you know, I'll tell you something about me. I hated green color when I was a child. Mind you, green color was not very popular when I was growing up, really. And now, this is my favorite color. So, okay, this is what it says. The world is a reflection of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Embody the love you wish to see in the world. When you look into the mirror, do you like what you see? The Sacred Pool card asks that you focus on self-love and self-esteem. We all are works in progress, so detached self-examination made with rigorous honesty is called for now. Reflect by the Sacred Pool and be at peace with yourself. Can you see how far you have come and how magical your life is? Do you notice the spark of the divine shining through your eyes? When you're conscious that you are the embodiment of spirit, it becomes easier to respect yourself and act in good conscience. Then you will reap the greatest rewards. Your unique service to the world is not only needed, but celebrated. See the love within you and know that if you cast it upon the waters, it will return to you tenfold. Be at peace, for you are beautiful and loved. Act with surety and confidence, and success shall be yours, whatever you wish. Isn't this lovely? Very, very nice card. So yeah, I'm becoming such a big fan of green that I'm going to paint kitchen cabinets in my dad's home in green color and kind of like sage green, like not any of these greens over here. So, oh my gosh, it's such a lovely message. It's 11 message. It's in your universal love. It's kind of like give it to people. Don't be stingy about it, and it's going to come back to you. So it's so lovely and lovely and lovely. So thank you, Barbie, for helping the crowd, getting their answers and messages, and stepping in and putting your foot down. Thank you, everybody, moderators helping, and everybody visiting. This is so lovely to see you guys. I'm going to play a little music, and then I'm going to say goodbye for the week, and I'll talk to you next week. Love you guys, and all the best.